work pretty well against Bloodseeker pre-BKB. Great way to slow down his attack speed and prevent him from actually... I mean, you still can't lock him in place too easily, but he's not going to just go rampant in a fight getting kill after kill if he doesn't have any attack speed to work with. And also gives CDEC really strong lanes. Likely we'll see the Tusk Phoenix act as a dual lane in the off lane, look to punish the Bloodseeker. It's going to be a Bloodseeker plus whatever their last pick is as their range support. I mean, the Earthshaker can offer some help. He'll be roaming around, but even with the Earthshaker there, Phoenix has an escape. Your Tusk is pretty durable and can use the Snowballer as well to keep himself alive, so it's not like an easy lane for Hot6 to look to find kills on.
I've got two mechanics questions for you, and these might be unfair. So, when Phoenix Supernovas, does that remove any additional Thirst move speed that Bloodseeker and Vision that he would be getting? I imagine it would, since he's no longer a low HP hero. Other question is, how's the Snowball work? When you go on the Snowball, do you still count? Does he still get the move speed? Because in theory, I think the Supernova probably does, at least theory crafty in my head.
Yeah. I'm
not sure about the Snowball, but in theory, they could just constantly be removing his Thirst move speed. This could be a really cool way to try and counter him.
Yeah, I think you're right in the Phoenix one. The Tusk Snowball, I'm not sure.
That's a big question mark. That would be really strong if you.
Yeah.
Well, something to keep in mind. I guess we'll find out as the game progresses, but gives them a lot of control here. Now, generally with the Phoenix, we look for his early levels, and do you think he's going to be able to find them this game? Do you see like a Tusk Phoenix dual lane down towards the bottom side of the map for CDEC?
I think it can work. I mean, you've got to share the experience, so you're not going to be leveling as much as a solo offlaner, but at the same time, if he goes solo offlane, I think he gets zoned out by whatever range support Hot6 are picking here, so... options are kind of limited. Skywrath would have been great. I don't think, as much as Silencers are counter to the Phoenix, I don't think it's a great pick.
Oh, the Pugna comes out as well.
So
now we saw him earlier today. So Cloud9 saw first pick Leshrac. They thought it was a core Leshrac, or at least it seemed to be the case, from LGD, and they instantly snapped up what seemed to be their prepared counter, which was an anti-mage plus Pugna. Of course, LGD went on to just put it into more of a support role. Didn't end up working out. Felt like they revealed their cards a bit too early that game. But we'll see Pugna much later on in the draft this time. And I guess this is a support Pugna from the looks of it.
Yeah.
Unless they... I mean, how else could they lane it?
Really
could they run a jungle Bloodseeker here? That seemed... Have you seen a jungle Bloodseeker in competitive?
Not
I've seen it in my pubs. It's been hit or miss in pubs, but...
When the changes first happened with the hero, I think it was MVP Gaming who ran it, like FY played a jungle Bloodseeker, but that was very much teams in their experimental stage. They were like, saying, okay...
Let's see what the hero can do.
Yeah, and it was very much like, it wasn't even about... It didn't really matter where the hero went. They just wanted to get a feel for the hero in like a competitive match, and... I think as a jungler, it's just not really that viable. It makes your lanes way too weak, especially in the current day and age where dual lanes are so popular. That off lane is just going to dominate if you run Bloodseeker in the jungle.
Well, so, what do you think of support Pugna? Do you think he's viable? And if so, where do you pick it up? It obviously didn't look good when Big Daddy played it today, but it felt like there were some other issues with that draft and the way the game developed that it wasn't really his fault. It's not like he played it poorly, but how would you see a support Pugna working out here?
I think he's pretty nice with the changes to the life drain, being able to heal your teammates constantly, act as kind of that healer just sitting behind when some of the other more popular healers like Dazzle are getting first ban now. And this is where it's kind of acts as that secondary support. I think it's important to have lockdown and control coming from else. Pugna offers no disables or lockdown in a team fight, so the fact they have an Earthshaker and the Clockwork on their team make Pugna quite strong. And Pugna's zoning as a range support is pretty solid. You get Nether Blast level 1, you can trade hits pretty well against most offlaners and then just throw Blast as well for some additional damage. So he actually lanes pretty strong in like most kind of 2v2 setups here. He's got a Bloodseeker to back him up. So if you're getting heroes low, that's when the thirst for the Bloodseeker can kick in. So I can see him being a strong laner. When it kind of failed early today, it was when he was supporting an anti-mage, which is just maybe too passive.
A weak lane.
Yeah, the lane's really weak. Anti-mage is more passive in lane there. Anti-mage can be aggressive in lane if you pair him with a strong support with a slow or a stun, so you can actually get the mana break off. But Pugna with a Bloodseeker, a little bit better.
All right, well, with that said, folks, we are underway. Game 1 of our 2-game set here between MVP Hot6 and CDEC. CDEC, of course, your wild card champions. They finished first, and this is Group B. We've only gotten started with the Group B matches here today. It was Group A that began the show, and we had some awesome games. So let's hope that Group B can deliver just as much. Early on, we see CDEC moving as a squad of 4 into the Radiant jungle. They will block the pole camp here and also get some great vision around it. At the same time, do want to point out quickly that Sunby bought a TP right away, used it to get top and place a ward. Wouldn't have been necessary in the end, as CDEC were busy with his jungle, but he didn't know it, of course. So it seems, gods, like they will end up with a gyrocopter disruptor bottom. Garter going to start off blocking the lane mid, and then I guess the question is, where does he go? Is he going to head top and join the Phoenix? What are we expecting here?
He may roam around a bit. He looks... You've got Bloodseeker in the bottom lane who's not going to get any farm down there if the Tusk does join up. So I think the fact they put Phoenix safe lane suggests they want Phoenix to get that fast level, not even just level 6. I think this is a hero who gets really strong around the level like 8 to 9 mark, because you hit your nukes and you just do so much damage. You have solo kill potential, or if you do just join up with your teammates, you dish out a lot of damage. So they want Phoenix to get the solo XP, but recognize that in the off lane that may not happen because you get zoned out, and they give Phoenix the solo safe lane. Tusk will start bottom, realize Bloodseeker's not here, and then probably end up just roaming towards mid lane, taking runes, even heading towards top if they decide to send the Bloodseeker there.
A lot of swapping around here. Forev, as the Bloodseeker, doesn't really need his regen, so he actually pulled his teammates 2 tangos off the bat. One of the, I guess, the nice ancillary benefits of picking this hero. Whole camp does get de-warded, but immediately re-ward blocked by Garter. Heen out of sentries at this point. None. Actually, Sunby has one. Potentially they can get another D-ward going, but already Heen taking some heavy punishment bottom as CDEC driving back off the lane a bit. The rotation from Jerax could be made. It would leave the Shadow Fiend a little vulnerable, who is having a rough start of it, but there's your fissure block to get things underway. Now the Nether Blast following up, and Sunby joining the party here. They have a fissure in about 8 seconds. The shards will keep one away, but the other 2 still remaining. They glimpse back one. They force him to skip the glimpse, but in position is MP. There's the raise, and your first blood of this match will go to MP. So off to a great start, and I was about to say he's struggling mid. You can see Queen of Pain 8 and 5 now, and Shadow Fiend only 2-0, but so much for that. Suddenly 14 souls, despite only getting 2 through the honest CS route.
And unfortunately for Disrupt, he's actually leveled up Glimpse some time ago, and if he had Kinetic Field there, he could like use it to block their path from chasing, but because he'd committed to the Glimpse, he actually didn't really have any good escape, and as a result, this kind of... the lane swaps from MVP Hot6 still wasted a lot of time. Clockwork had to buy a TP, move bottom, Bloodseeker had to run across the map, and now Bloodseeker's going to find himself up against a dual lane. As much as they want the Phoenix to get levels, the idea is to shut down the Bloodseeker, not give him early farm, so they'll kind of commit the support there, and XZ should be able to get some decent farm up here.
And it is a Gyrocopter getting free farm in the off lane. He's got 10 denies already. Sunby still only level 1 here on the Clockwork, so... As you mentioned, despite the kill, and despite how much it helps the Shadow Fiend, the rest of the lane struggling a bit early on from MVP Hot6.
Yeah. CDEC should be getting farm in all 3 lanes. Phoenix not doing too well, only has 4-3 last hits despite having the kind of good open lane. I mean, Bloodseeker wasn't even there from the get-go, but it's so hard to lane against this hero. Just base damage as Phoenix is not really all that impressive, and until you start getting points in your Fire Spirits, you just can't really keep the Bloodseeker away from the lane.
He's even gone for an Orb of Venom, actually, just wanting that extra bit of harassment, but versus Bloodseeker, it's just so difficult to keep this guy out of lane and to avoid him having full HP at all times. Hell, we've seen the hero beating Templar Assassins 1v1 mid today, and at the very least breaking even, and normally TA known for dominating most melee heroes mid, but not the Bloodseeker.
Yeah, so they'll find themselves in a 2v2 setup here as Heen even swings towards the top lane as well. So both teams really looking to switch up their lanes to try and get the edge. And what settles is, I mean, the Clockwork in the safe lane getting some experience, not really as much as he'd like, only he's hit level 3 now. And the Phoenix not really getting a huge amount of farm, although he's getting the experience, which he cares about a lot more.
Still waiting to see what they make out of the Pugna. For now, Heen holding a skill point, hasn't gone for the ward or Decrepify just yet. You know, where this hero used to be really popular was in that core role. He'd go safe lane normally, you'd wait until the catapult spawned, you'd go double pull right before it, and then you'd go immediately. Sunby will steal an Invisor and gets a bit of harass from the snowball. And then you'd push with the catapult, the double wave, and take an early tower. But Heen, for now, putting the pressure on the Phoenix. He's done some harassment. at the same time has been moving around a lot, but there's not a whole lot of kill potential here from him.
Forev getting a lot of thirst stacks up now with heroes getting low, but won't commit to too much. This stage of the game, very much both teams are just looking to maximize their farm for when their lineup can start actually taking objectives, taking fights, because you've got CDEC who really want levels on the Phoenix. Even heroes like Gyrocopter really start to come online at level 7 with the max barrage and cooldown.
Oh, they're giving him too much move speed here. Queen of Pain pretty low in the mid lane, and as a result, Q drops quickly. They decrep, they chase forward. Snowball's there to counter-initiate, though, and it's Heen who's caught out and punished. CDEC were ready for that one. And now Queen of Pain will beat a hasty retreat, get her salve, and head back on towards mid. Important here for CDEC, keep your HP up. They get Tranquil Boots on one of their lower HP heroes, and I imagine we'll be seeing them ferrying out consumables or making a slightly earlier trek to base just so Bloodseeker doesn't get too out of control.
Yeah, I see even like dropping his Tranquils last hitting.
Sunbee, this is not where you want to be, my friend. Trapped with the giant copter of doom. There's the fissure though, and the backup comes in. He's even got a salve up. They might be able to turn this aggressive. Got to be careful. He runs into 2. He's got another rocket barrage. Can he get them both? 1. It's almost 2. He's decrepit so he can't auto attack. He salves through it and lives. And now he wants to go back in. Endless barrage of doom coming from him. Aggressive. He finds a second. They're lucky it wasn't 3. We saw this from him in the qualifier, in the wild card yesterday, and we're seeing it again. It's almost to the point where you just don't give this guy Gyrocopter, because not only does he farm and play the hero well in the mid game, but he just wrecks everyone in the laning stage.
You almost you don't give teams Gyrocopter in general. Maybe it's going to become the case here in this this TI5 group stage, but. For now, the hero just keeps on slipping through, and it's kind of hard because there's bans being prioritized elsewhere. Leshrac, Undying, even Dazzle's become kind of a top support pick, but Gyrocopter may just become the first pick material hero that teams have to consider banning. And
unlike the Skywrath of TI4, he's just so versatile. He's not a one-dimensional, have to dominate the lanes. He does that, he can scale well into the late game, he can team fight, he can gank. He doesn't need much farm, but he does well with it. He just feels like the total package of a carry.
He's good in every stage. His early game dominance in the laning stage. Mid game is, I think, where he's scariest. Around that time, he hits level like 7, 8, 9, whatever it may be, and has the max rocket barrage, and with cooldown is just he beast mode.
I guess the big thing he lacks is that single target damage. He's not as good as let's say, a Templar Assassin at just blowing one hero up. But generally, that's where you look to your team to provide the follow-up. We'll see a little pressure here bottom. Now that Heen's got the level 2 blast, MVP moving in with a squad of 3. They want to chip on this tower, and they'll keep on spamming the blast out. But already, CDEC on the rotation. They've got call-down guns. This is not going to work for Hot6. They need to get out and get out quickly. 4F does have Rupture, though. Maybe they can ambush them on the rotation. Perhaps this will work in the end. The snowball starts it. The call-down follows. Everybody dodges around it except for Jax, who may drop to this. He's extremely low, but 4F in position. Could go for the Rupture. He wants to Rupture aggressive, and he'll find him. Quickly TPing out. That allows Garter to retreat. I think he was hoping for the twofer.
Yeah,
but ends up getting nothing.
Kind of blocked them off with the ice shots when they went on the Earthshaker, which meant they didn't get the kill. So a bit unfortunate there. Ice shot's a bit of a weird spell with the direction it kind of shows up sometimes. So not the easiest thing to control, but still, they didn't lose anything. That's the key thing there for CDEC. They immediately recognize it's a bad situation. Once the Rupture comes out, Aggressive says, okay, this isn't working. I'm just going to TP out. We reset. Because right now, Hot6's lineup is kind of struggling to do too much. They're actually going to get 4 of caught out in the lane, and that's their carry.
Kill.
Yeah, Shiki even rotating in to make sure things go smoothly, and that was the one here in Hot6 who was doing really well. I guess the Shadow Fiend's got holding his own, getting decent farm in the mid lane, but Bloodseeker there, quite costly.
I guess in good news, Rupture was cooling down, so it's not wasting potential ganking time here, but it does slow down the Midas timing, which he appears to be going for. Gets the Gloves of Haste, and with that, CDEC right back in the saddle. Your Disruptor, Q, closing in on level 6 and gets his boots now. He'll be happy about that. Although you can't run too much from the Bloodseeker. He's going to TP right back in bottom, and they want to go in aggressive here. Has the call down. He needs to stand and fight. He drops the call down, gets off the rocket barrage. That's going to force 4F back. Drops low and just TPs out again. Frustrating for 4F. Just can't find the kills. It's the old pub counter to Bloodseeker. Just carry a TP scroll. Doesn't always work in pro play with a lot of stuns and follow-up from the team, but here it seems to be the solution.
And it's one of those things, as many times as it can work, like if you're playing like a hard carry though, in this case Gyrocopter, kind of more of a fighting carry. You're not farming though, and it's a 60-second cooldown. If you can force the enemy carry to have to TP home every 60 seconds, it's still not necessarily a counter to the Bloodseeker, because Bloodseeker, he's staying active on the map, he's keeping his farm up, while Gyrocopter is being somewhat stunted, but This Gyrocopter's had such a good start, it's not really causing CDEC too much.
Well, you called him a fighting carry, and that's exactly what he wants to do, gods. They know the Rupture's on cooldown for 10 seconds. They have the Glimpse available, and they're going to quickly Glimpse for Ev. He forced it out with the silence there. They wanted to hold it a bit longer, did the Disruptor, but didn't have the option. Hulk is ready, and Sunbee's fishing. They deny the tower. Will he go? Bit too far. If anybody from CDEC crossed about this line here, I think they would have made their move. But in the end, it is a tower deny, and
one
we'll
hero
MVP
is low,
Hot6 back up.
and Bloodseeker's hasted, so you don't want to fight right now.
At the same time, he has to be careful about running in. There's a lot of burst here at CDEC.
And he can get locked down pretty well. Snowball, Walrus Punch, or no Walrus Punch available yet, but Snowball, Kinetic Field, and you can prevent him from doing a whole lot. Especially if he gets hit by a Fire Spirit, then yeah, you're super fast, but good luck attacking with a level 4 Fire Spirit on you.
So it seems the early impact of the Pugna support for Hot6 is a quick tower. That's the big thing they get out of this. They get it in a little extra map control. It was denied, but it frees up that bottom side of the map, diminishes what CDEC can do around the Roshan pit, and they're going to move as a squad onto mid, gods. They don't have the mech yet, though. Do you reckon Hot6 ought to wait, or should they just go now?
I think going, at least kind of applying pressure here. They're not going to commit or go diving for kills. So Sunbee's kind of in position for a hook shot, but unless he feels there's just a lone defender, he's not going to be hooking in to force a fight. Bloodseeker's actually not there. He's down the bottom lane, and
there's your call down. They're going to engage on this. Phoenix gets stunned, but gets off the egg. MP quickly melts. No mech to save him. And now blinking forward as Shiki gets the ult up. Almost finishes the Earthshaker as well. That's a quick one hero takedown, 2 counting the Pugna. And it's going to be 3 with Sunbee. They're lucky they didn't lose their Shaker as well. Bloodseeker running as fast as a vampire, but off in the bottom lane. Not a part of that skirmish, and boy, they sure could have used him with his 700 move speed.
Yeah, and CDEC saw that. He was just seeing bottom lane, farming, pushing out the lane, and they said they haven't got Bloodseeker, they haven't got Shadow Fiend mech. This is a fight we can take. Because Hot6 were just looking to chip away at the tower. They weren't going to engage. As much as the Clockwork was in position to find a hook shot, he did not want to be going in there, and CDEC just said, we'll start the fight ourselves.
Despite the score being 7-1, though, it's not that bad for Hot6. They've got the 1 tower advantage, but in terms of gold, it's only about 1,000 deficit. They're still in this one, gods. They're going to push again, but again, they're going without the mech. This time, the tower's low. There is a glyph available. CDEC not really in position to defend it. It seems this time they'll let it go.
It's kind of like a brute force strategy Hot6 are using, where we'll just keep on coming at you, grouped up as 3 or 4, push your towers, and use this to kind of just get gold. Even if we give away a kill or 2, like you just mentioned, they're not that far behind or really behind at all at this stage. The gold difference is negligible, and both their 2 carries, Shadow Fiend and Bloodseeker, are in a pretty solid position to transition the mid game. They've got the items they need. They've got farm. Shadow Fiend just 500 away from a mech, and once you throw in a mech to the equation, MVP Hot6's group up and push gets even scarier.
And mech is closing in. We saw smoke from Hot6, and they were not scouted by the Dire Observer Ward. They were just in front of their own tower, but CDEC seemed to expect that type of movement. They didn't see anyone from Hot6 go back into the jungle, so they just assume
they see MP with
they're
their
on the
ward.
smoke. And they do have vision on the Shadow Fiend. He doesn't quite have the mech now. It's a terrible time for MP to die. And die he shall, it seems, with the jump forward from the Phoenix. He turns with the raises. He's not quite finished off, but finally he pops to Shiki with the Blake Scream. The trade might be this tower top, though. Glyph is available. It's another tier 1. And they're at least going to get the tier 1 mid. So CDEC overall happy with that trade, getting the Shadow Fiend, delaying the mech, and on top of that, getting the more important tower. And they continue the push. They still have the Phoenix Egg. The cooldown up in 30 seconds. Shadow Fiend with the tower dropping should just about... Actually, he's still short. He still needs 200 for the mech. And CDEC, they'll back off now. But that ward really paying off. And you can even see they tried to de-ward that area earlier, but couldn't quite find it.
That was... It's such an early time. This is kind of a common ward spot, but not for 12 minutes into the game. It's actually being pinged out now by the Earthshaker, and that ward just got CDEC a huge advantage. You just don't expect it to be there at that point of the game. You're pushing top lane, and Shadow Fiend thinks he's just missing off the map, farming towards his mech at a very safe place in the jungle, but what ends up happening is CDEC find not only a pick-off, but a tier 1 tower off of it, and now the D-ward comes out, but I mean, you've already got so much value out of just one observer.
It paid for itself. Gets you the tower, delays the mech. And they planned down another aggressive Observer Ward. This one somewhat mirrored by the Radiant Observer placed towards the top side of the map. We'll see if either one comes into play soon as CDEC begin to congregate. Grouping up as a squad of 5 bottom. They may push this tower. They're looking pretty scary. They've all got their key levels. Now the Queen of Pain level 11, so the 2 points in Sonic Wave come into play here. Heavy burst from her. they're not the quickest pushing lineup, but Hot6 showing no signs of wanting to defend this. They're just going to split push. Bring the Pugna on towards mid. Heen gets his own deep observer ward down. Really nice warding from both teams here. As Q sets up top, he's got the eyes on Forev. He's going to glimpse it back, cancels the TP, whiffs on the static field, but in they go anyway with the snowball. The uppercut should finish him. Walrus punch to your face, and Forev falls. Big pick off there. They also halt the push. At the same time, giving up on their own push bottom, but they did a lot of damage to that tower.
They bring it down a bit more, and I think they'll be back, because that deep ward they got in the bottom lane means they have a great position to actually go for this bottom tier 1 once again, once they can push out top, push out mid. And it's not even about pushing out the lanes. It's, I mean, we're still just 50 minutes in the game. Their core heroes are still looking for more item progression. The Gyrocopters working on the Sanjin Yasha. Queen of Pain's just holding on to 2.7k, so we'll see what Shiki wants to go towards fairly soon. And at some point they'll group up once more once they feel like there isn't farm on the map to be had, or at least they're ready to kind of take another fight. So
Bloodseeker picking up the Claymore. Guess it's the Silver Edge coming out, or at least the Shadow Blade to start.
Not an item you would expect to see him rush, especially with the nature of CDEC's lineup wanting to grouping up as much as they have been.
Garter has scouted out MP. He wants to go. He's got the snowball ready. They glimpse him back to start, and then the Static Storm awaits him. He's trapped within. Somehow skirts the quick static field end. It's only a level 1, and he's able to retreat out. Still, they get the kill. Shadow Fiend pops in the end. They will force out a couple of big ultimates, immediately counter-initiating, but XZ at full HP. They have Ruptured Garter, who stands in position. He'll accept his fate, but everybody else continues their retreat. Nobody low HP, so they should be able to get out. The Shadow Fiend for a Tusk when the dust settles, and that's without the Gyrocopter of Aggressive, who's busy pressuring the top lane. If he can get this tower, a really nice win for CDEC once again.
Yeah, CDEC just using the map a bit better right now. They're getting farm in more places and finding the more key pickoffs there on the Shadow Fiend.
Aggressive, the dive, he's found Heen with the initial call down, and he's gonna get yet another kill. I feel like we've seen this movie before. Aggressive plays Gyrocopter, Aggressive kills everyone. 3-0 and 4, he's just everywhere.
He gets more solo kills than just any carry player out there, I would say. Like, as far as, I mean, and some of these times it's like a 1v2 or 1v3 scenario, and he's like getting multiple kills. It's really impressive to watch, and it's something I don't even think it's players like, a lot of the time you get those because players underestimate you with aggressive. It's just, I think he just goes for kills that other carry players don't see, or maybe just don't they're just not willing to take the same risks that he is.
Yeah, and for some players, they might think, oh, if you get the kill, then you got to go heal. So the trade-off is maybe you don't get to farm. It's just his play style. This guy just likes to fight. It's in the name, and he's lived up to it so far. At the same time, though, despite the deaths, Hot6 still getting good farm on their key heroes here. The Shadow Fiend, the Bloodseeker, still well in it when it comes to net worth, when it comes to CS. They're the two leaders, actually, by a fairly sizable margin. So it's not all for naught, but it just feels like CDEC have a grip on this game right now.
Yeah, Quap decided to rush a BKB, which suggests they're going to be fighting, grouping up, and it's a defensive item which allows them to be aggressive in which fights they take. Queen of Pain can blink in much more aggressively, use the BKB, and yeah, you may get ruptured, but the physical damage is not going to be impressive from Forev. And Forev with the Shadow Blade really struggles to take team fights. He can't deal with the Fire Spirits. He can't deal with a lot of the magic damage output coming from the Gyrocopter especially. This is very much an item geared for finding kind of solo pickoffs on the map, and that's something CDEC just aren't going to present to MVP Hot6.
CDEC, an interesting smoke here, and they're now going to move towards the top side of the map. I think Hot6 may have seen this one. Didn't see when it got popped, but they're all starting to retreat. Oh, well, maybe not. MP down into the river. They get eyes on him to start. They're going to snowball forward and then glimpse him back, I imagine. They don't really want to waste that Tusk's initiation. MP turns, drops the Requiem, but there's the BKB from Shiki. He takes all the damage. Jurex will fall next, and the rest retreat for him. Trying to run in, but the Sigil limiting the damage. He explodes. Splat goes the Bloodseeker. CDEC with the combat build just running at Hot6, and they simply can't withstand the firepower.
Oh yeah, and now they're going to just look to claim another objective off this. The tier 2 tower mid ready for the taking, and I feel like until Shadow Fiend and Bloodseeker get BKBs, Hot6 are very limited in what they can do, and that's pretty much going to come down to split pushing, avoiding these team fights. I would say looking for pickoffs, but I don't think there are pickoffs to be had. I think it's very much CDEC want to push one lane, you give it up, and then take what farm else is available elsewhere on the map and try and force them back by split pushing, like they did earlier when they went for that top tier 2 tower.
Gods, it really feels like they want to end this game quickly. CDEC, they've got a date. They have somewhere to be. We're going to see a potential pipe build coming out from Garter. A mech picked up on the Phoenix. The gyrocopter of Aggressive went into the Sanjin Yasha right away. Everybody gearing up just for the mid game. Nobody building towards late game. No Helm of the Dominator on your gyrocopter. No Midases on anybody. Even the Queen of Pain opting for BKB over, say, an Aghanims or an Orchid. CDEC just want to fight, 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 and take it to Hot6. And with that, maybe they look to end this game before the 30-minute mark if they can find the right fights.
Yeah, and a hero like an Earthshaker with a Blink Dagger could be looking to prevent that, but Jerax is not even close to getting a Blink Dagger up. He's just hit level 7 now and seeing on about, well, okay, halfway there, seeing on about 1,000 gold, but it's going to be a long climb for him to get to that point where he has a Blink Dagger. There's not really, he can't really be farming lanes without putting himself in a lot of danger.
Oh, Garter, he's out too far. They have a TP at the ready for him, but in position as well is Jerax. They want to hold the Rupture, it seems. And now he's going to snowball, dodging some of that Rupture damage. He'll actually be rolling back into 4F Silence. This may not go the way he hopes. Actually, Silence doesn't connect. He gets up the Horror's Punch, but to no avail. He will end up falling. Still, only a Tusk. And CDEC going to push in. Nice pickoff, though.
Yeah, the first signs of CDEC slightly slipping up, just not a position Tusk should maybe be. We kind of talked about Hot6 can't go for pickoffs because there's nothing available on the map, and the caster curse strikes as Tusk just goes off on his own to try and get some farm. He wanted to finish the pipe you're talking about. He had the headdress, just needed the recipe, and decided, okay, it's worth kind of splitting up for my team to get some solo farm, but that's what happens when you're against a Shadowblade Bloodseeker.
CDEC continuing to push in this bottom lane here. Apply a bit of pressure. Again, I guess the one deficiency with the CDEC draft is they're not really the best pushing lineup. They don't have heavy single target damage on towers, and compared to the Pugner or the Bloodseeker, even the Shadow Fiend, they're just slow about it. So at Hot6, able to defend these towers nicely and stall it out. CDEC spreading the map a bit as Hot6 sit back. 4Ev gonna farm. What do you think at this point? Is it a BKB for 4Ev? What's your build here on the Bloodseeker?
It's got to be. The only other option is maybe something like a SMY, but the BKB is so important against the Phoenix, especially with the Fire Spirits. It's great against the Disruptor with the Static Storm, Kinetic Field, Glimpse, etc. I think BKB is just an item he and Shadow Fiend both desperately need. The problem right now is that CDEC are going to be hitting a scary timing window soon. They're going to have their second items on their 2 carries. You're going to have the Aghanim Scepter coming up on Shiki, the BKB coming up on Gyrocopter, and they're going to have an Aegis because Disruptor went for a Medallion to kind of expedite this Roshan taking. And with an Aegis, these 2 tier 2 towers left on the map can probably go down without a contest, and I think even high ground can be threatened with a BKB Gyrocopter.
CDEC moving towards the bottom lane, all 5 grouped up. Sunby hiding in the trees, and Hot6 sitting back. They don't have much map control, and they'll just walk into the pit. CDEC feeling confident right now. You can see their vision, not the best on the map, but they just saw the Earthshaker towards the top lane, and they just feel strong about their 5-man combat. They use the Sigil, the Medallion you mentioned, and around the time they finish this Roche, the pipe almost done for Garter. And there's your hook, trying to steal the Aegis. Sunby jumping in, but he doesn't get the Aegis, and he doesn't get the last hit. He'll end up dying. Worth the shot, but just doesn't pay off in the end.
We saw the exact same play early in one of the other games, I can't remember, but it's one of those things where Clockwork isn't a split-pushing hero, so it's not like there's any loss for him being down, unless you can't find a pick-off because of this, but... Oh, Jerax at top, he's caught out. He was trying to farm his Blink while the Roche was going on, and he's very close to it.
He's gonna lose vision in a second here, but not soon enough as they trap him out in the kinetic field. Shadow Fiend thinking about a Zodi Requiem to defend him. Jerax tries to survive. He can't quite, even through the MP mech. CDEC able to burst him. That's the pickoff you want to avoid. The Clockwork going for the Roche snipe. Totally worth the risk, but this is going to slow Jerax down quite a bit as he was nearing the Blink Dagger, as you mentioned, Gods. 1,500 gold now after that. You gotta hope he gets it in time if you're Hot6, because there's only the 2 tier 2s, and CDEC take these. Have to think they're going to go for the base.
And they're just about to pick up those other 2 big items I mentioned earlier. Aghanim's 300 gold short. Gyrocopter has the money for a BKB, and yeah, there we go. BKB coming on the courier, so these are items that Hot6 aren't prepared to deal with. They've got Rupture damage to go through BKBs, but like Gyrocopter's just going to stand and fight. He doesn't care too much about this, and the pipe also up on Garda means that the magic damage coming out from SF is not much.
Forev going in, but he runs into the Sigil. I don't know if he can do this one, Gods. If he can get Garter on his own, that could be a freebie, and he starts auto-attacking him. Garter, a bit slow to react here, has the snowball. Forev will drag him back. He does get the stun up, along with the charge, the follow-up punch, and guess who's waiting? It's Disruptor with the Static Storm. This Shadow Blade has just not paid off at all for Forev. Another death for the Bloodseeker, now 2 and 4, and only 1 assist to his name. Very low impact so far.
You were asking about mechanics, and it looks like Bloodseeker doesn't get movement speed when the heroes are snowballed, because he lost a lot of his movement speed when Garda went into that snowball there.
It seems like the Phoenix Tusk is a really nice way to deal with him.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of ideas, a lot of teams having their own strategy to approach him. I mentioned the Wraithkeen earlier. But this seems to be one of the best.
And Gyrocopter as a carry is fantastic against Bloodseeker as well. I mean, he's fantastic against a lot of things.
You don't run in on this guy, that's for sure.
Yeah, running into Rocket Barrage and cooldown, more so for the slow than the damage, is also great against Bloodseeker as well. It's another way to limit his movement speed in a fight. It's a huge movement speed slow, especially if you hit both missiles on him.
CDEC now feeling confident. They move in bottom. Aggressive a bit low on mana here as well as HP. Does have the Aegis, but right at the moment when CDEC want to push, they get their double BKB, and Jarex is just a 1 creep away from the blink. There you go, he's got it. He can TP out, and he will. So they're going to have 3 crucial items for this base defense. CDEC have to be careful. They could be caught totally off guard by this.
Yeah, double BKBs, the Earthshaker blink. CDEC's still very strong, and if they execute, like, just run the standard, have your Aegis Gyrocopter in the front lines, chipping away at the tower, doing some spread flak damage every now and then, they shouldn't be in too much danger of getting wiped if they just play things slow and cautiously.
There's the pipe from the back lines. XE slowly healing up his buddy here, keeping Aggressive nice and healthy. Didn't do much to the tower. Again, they don't have that great siege engine here.
Yeah.
No heavy single target damage, no minus armor for towers. This is going to be slow going if CDEC want to end the game now.
Yeah, I don't see them able to end the game now. They have 2 options. They can keep on sieging. They're probably at most going to get some more damage on the tier 3 tower. I can't even see them taking it during the Aegis timing, but if they keep doing that, it forces Hot6 to be grouped as 5 in their base, which is not really what Hot6 want to be doing. So it forces a stalemate. Neither team's really farming, and CDEC maybe get some damage on a tier 3 tower. At best, take the tier 3 tower and probably don't get a Rax, but I think CDEC just decided it's not worth our time. Let's send Queen of Pain back. Let's just take control of the map. I think they want to pick up a gem as soon as possible so they can deny Hot6 a lot of the vision, which they've been using really well. And from there, they can look to kind of transition into a more late-game state with their carries. Gyrocopter just needs to get that scary late-game damage item coming up.
Well, Aggressive certainly has the option now, up to 3,100 gold, so a Butterfly, if he'd like it, can get that first big component, the Eagle Song, very soon, or potentially even just straight into an MKB here. We'll have to wait and see what the choice is, but the same moment, the rest of CDEC just playing a little more cautiously now. Your Aegis about to expire, so it seems there will be no push immediately. And Forev, last time we saw this, it didn't end so well. This time, though, he's got an extra double damage to work with and a BKB. This could be a bigger opening, but it seems he's playing a little scared. Didn't like the way the last fight went.
Yeah. To me, CDEC just have heroes which are going to continue to scale really well. Queen of Pain, you've got your next timing comes when Queen of Pain gets a Hex. Then from there, you've got the Refresher timing where you have Refresher, Sonic Wave, double Hex, double BKB. This is like the dream late game items for Queen of Pain, and he's going for this. He didn't go for something like the Orchid, which doesn't scale as well into the late game. Gyrocopter's going to get scary and scary with like Satanic, Butterfly, MKB, whatever it may be. And heroes like Bloodseeker, you've got the Shadow Blade, you haven't really gone for that more late-game Skadi type Butterfly build, and it's just a hero in general as a melee carry against Gyrocopter, against Queen of Pain, who's not going to do well.
They're on the smoke, Gods. They want to take this fight. Dire Vision, definitely superior if the smoke gets revealed as the Sigil scouts. It won't see anything. That's got to be suspicious for CDEC.
It's all clockwork.
Oh, did it? No. Oh, he was smoked, I thought. Oh, guess not. Some beat. Smoke ends up breaking, and, well, on the back foot. No, actually, you know what? I don't think he got hit by the smoke, but now they go with the Fissure onto Aggressive as the BKB. Not really the hero you want to jump. Maybe they can force that BKB out. He'll get silenced, but just keeps on running forward. Now he pops the call down. It hits absolutely nothing, though. Ruptured and held in position while Forev dives towards the back line. They ignore Aggressive. The hook comes in. They'll bring down Q, and this is looking like a great fight for the Bloodseeker. Out comes the Phoenix Egg potentially, but now they've got to turn tail and run. Their BKB is running out. They don't get stunned by the Phoenix. Shiki lurching forward, but there's the 3-hero Echo. Follow follow-up silence. MVP tearing CDEC to shreds and hunting for more. Shiki has the blink TP. Should be able to make it out of here. They do have a bit of vision on him, but now he'll retreat out and looks like he may end up escaping. What an amazing hold there by MVP Hot6.
Yeah, Jarek's coming up big. That first fissure where they trapped the gyrocopter underneath the tower was just perfect. That was the best way you could take a fight if you're Hot6 in that position. You isolate the gyrocopter, force him to make a decision where he can commit his BKB and fight, in which case you back off enough, or they follow first they rupture him, so gyrocopter can't chase into them. And then they also waste the BKB by just backing off away from him. So Gyrocopter's in this awful position where he's taking tower damage, he's ruptured, he's used his BKB, so he can't really fight during the BKB, and then when the BKB wears off, he's done for. So that was just a perfect execution from Hot6. The Echo Slam follow-up as well from Jarex was also incredible. So really nice hold from them. They're still in a bit of a tough spot, but things looking a bit better after that.
They found Forev, who's farming the enemy woods, got a bit too cocky, and as quickly as the amazing team fight emerges for Hot6, they give back quite a bit. Very greedy
not a very
farming
common
position.
dire ward spot. That's
it is
somewhat unfortunate. That there's a dire ward right there.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, definitely not a common one, but pretty far in the end. And
the dire warding has got them some clutch kills this game. The Shadow Fiend earlier on, that kill there on the Bloodseeker.
It really has. And now they're just going to go right back top. Time to push again. This time, though, Bloodseeker is dead, and as it turns out, though CDEC may not know it, he doesn't have buyback. I think they actually expected is he did buy the Eagle Song. They saw it in his inventory just before that fight broke out, or should have anyway. So they'll take this tier 2 down. Doubt they want to go high ground just yet, but you never know with Aggressive at the helm as the carry player for the squad. Slow retreat. Roshan not up for about a minute and a half or so. It's a fairly quick Roshan respawn, so we may have a very large skirmish emerging in just a few moments.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Hot6 try and contest it. They have got the constant rocket flare they can use to scout. Uh-oh, Clockwork.
Goes for the TP. There's your Yules to cancel it, though. XZ just picked this up shortly before the skirmish broke out, and now Zombie trapped within the Ice Shards. The Walrus Punch will hold him in position, but he hooks his way over to Q and keeps on trying to run. They've got a glimpse if they need it. Great acrobatics there, but simply not enough in the end.
Well, CDEC can then just happily keep these lanes pushed out and probably await the Roshan.
Oh, they're already scouting with the... Oh, no, sending in the Satanic, but probably about to scout this Roshan respawn. It's very close. Oh, they might just miss it. Q pops in out of the pit, and it's early. Around here, they move the courier back. Oh, this would have been a freebie, gods, I think, with Clockwork dead for 20 and the hook down for 22. You don't see it just yet.
Well, Aggressive even completes the Satanic, so...
He doesn't like being ruptured, so he just wants to stand there and just hit things, even while ruptured.
It's defensive, but he deals enough damage just through his spells. And yeah, he's still got 200 right-click damage here that he can bounce around. So he's not going to be a huge threat with the flat cannon to just tear apart MVP Hot6, but he wants to prioritize staying alive. So he can actually chase a little bit even while ruptured, then pop the Satanic and be able to bring back some of his HP. So I think it's a good item build for this game, and he can easily... at this point, CDEC is thinking, when we hit that timing where we have a Hex Refresher, Queen of Pain, and a 6-letter Gyrocopter, Hot6 are going to struggle to deal with that.
What are your thoughts on the 33-minute Sanjin Yasha from MP? This is quite late compared to the normal timing. Generally, not an item we see much anymore on Shadow Fiend, and definitely not an item that we see at this stage of the game very often.
Yeah, normally it's if you're ahead and you want to end the game fast, you go for the SMY.
Oh, they found Aggressive. They smoked under what looks like a dire ward, but apparently it wasn't scouted. CDEC now on the run. Zombie, no hook available. He already popped it, and they're going to engage. No gyrocopter buyback. They're fighting without him. Can they really take the fight? Out comes the egg, but it's doing nothing to these BKB carries who charge forward and start slaughtering the CDEC supports, routing their backlines and forcing them out. XZ will retreat. It could have been a lot worse, it felt like. CDEC only losing 2, getting 1 in exchange, but now comes the push from MVP.
That was just such a good call when the Gyrocopter just picked up Satanic, but they just burst him down from full to nothing. Chain stun perfectly, and Jarex leading the way with the Blink Echo Slam. That was just very polished game coming out from Hot6, and CDEC just didn't expect that. Gyrocopter probably just thought like, okay, I've got this 3rd defensive item. At this point, he's thinking he's pretty invincible, or at least he can't be ganked. But
boy, were they wrong about that. Oh, he trying for the TP out. Will he make it? Snowball? No, they got him. And they'll at least get a Pugna, so it ends up being a 2 for 2, but getting the gyrocopter and the tower, definitely worth it here for Hot6.
Yeah, so talked about a lot of CDEC scaling, but we'll have to see what... I mean, Hot6 by no means weak in the late game. Shadow Fiend went for the SMY, which is not going to be an item which will help them end the game because they've got a lot of work cut out for them still to look to turn things around. But he can then go into the Butterfly, Daedalus, Satanic type items as well. Bloodseeker already working on a Butterfly, has the money to complete it, but maybe thinking he needs buyback gold. But it's actually Bloodseeker up there on par with the Gyrocopter as far as farm goes. So still a decent late game for Hot6. Earthshaker, we've seen what he can do in a team fight, and Jerax now has a Blink and a False Staff to give him great mobility.
And into the pit for CDEC. They have the Medallion, and once again, they'll use it on the Roshan. Gyrocopter inbound. If he gets the Aegis as well, at that point, he's got to be figuring he can live through at least a little bit of the fight. Maybe you even give it to the Queen of Pain. I mean, in theory, if he BKBs, he should not die, but
I think they'll give it to Gyro. Just
to be safe, just give it to Aggressive.
After what just happened there, especially, it'll be like, well, they can, especially you go for a push, because they can do the exact same thing. They don't have that defensive support that can save the Gyrocopter. They can't really, they haven't got good heals. They've got the Sunray, but that's not like an instant heal. It's kind of heal over time, so they can't get him out of dodge with like a Grave or something from a Dazzle. They just, yeah, I think they need the Aegis on Aggressive to be able to push and go for a high ground siege of any sort. But
well, now he gets the Vlad's lifesteal as well here, so another utility item picked up by XC, who is quite farmed on the Phoenix, level 16, and it is worth mentioning he got core farm. He got the safe lane farm early. Not something we've seen too much of, because frankly we just haven't seen Phoenix in general as they smoke. I don't think the Radiant Ward scouted it, because I believe they were just north of that little slight tunnel of vision, the lane if you will, but moving in, and MVP starting to back off, just naturally suspicious. The map is rather dark. They just scouted Jerax, but he's waiting up on the high ground. Maybe they actually did see one of those heroes. The way they're positioned, it sure looks like they did. And Gardner's going to go in. He gets off the snowball, and he's rolling deep all the way towards the Earthshaker, but doesn't quite get there. MP trapped and surrounded, and now they go in Gardner. Out comes the pipe. They focus the egg. They will bring it down before he gets anything up, but the Static Storm's waiting. BKB still going strong at Forev. Oh, he just gets out of the Static field in time. It is the cheeky blinks in. He gets echoed. He doesn't get off a spell, and he's going to drop here. He actually got off his ult earlier, but he can't follow it up too much. Now Q gonna fall as well. Aggressive trying to TP out frantically. He'll make it just barely at that. 4 dead. They roll onto Jerax, but he blinks so far away that the Tusk just could never really focus him down. I
mean, again, positioning from Hot6 in these fights has just been very, very good. They were on the high ground. I think CDEC were pretty sure that's where they were. They had the lane ward smack dab in the middle there that saw them walk up there. They just weren't expecting Hot6 to be so prepared to take that team fight. And also, the biggest thing there, SF, very early BKB use, but he had to. If Queen of Pain got the Blink Hex on SF, they can kill the SF before he gets off the Requiem. But SF, immediate BKB before the Queen of Pain could Hex, and that was the one thing which decided the outcome of that fight.
Aggressive, gonna drop a call down into the pit, but it's not enough to kill Forev, and he'll collect the Aegis. It's MVP Hot6 really bouncing back here after a slow early game. I heard a hook shot. Like Sunby just hooking the creeps. He's now got his Aghanims complete, so can freely use that one to farm, to split push, and to skirmish with CDEC as he sees fit. That's a big Aegis pickup, and especially on a Bloodseeker. Wants to be in the middle of the fight. Now he's got a little more freedom to move around and take some risks.
Disruptor only now picks up a gem for CDEC as well, something I feel would have benefited a lot more when they kind of had the advantage, had taken all outer towers, and could have looked to just tighten up the map and kind of just starve MVP Hot6 in their own base by lack of vision. But
what a close game it's been, Gods. I'm looking at the graph here, and we've never gone beyond 10,000. That was a pretty substantial lead for CDEC, but for most of the game, the teams have been within reach of each other as the items do continue to pile out. This really feels like it could be either team's game, mostly just coming down to the teamfight execution.
And we're at a point where CDEC have gone for a lot of items which are geared towards ending the game, which don't necessarily scale as well. The mech, the pipe, these are items which once you get 67 minutes in, you don't really notice their impact on the teamfight as much. Even if you're getting a full pipe damage block, so much physical damage comes out of Shadow Fiend and Bloodseeker that, and even the magic damage just kind of overwhelms it as well. So the Vlads from the Phoenix still going to be great as it scales, but they haven't been able to breach high ground or even go for the Aegis push since the first Aegis they had, despite having Mech, Pipe, and Vlad, which is like a you gear this way, you're thinking we're ending the game and we're going to finish things fast. Well,
the gem you wanted, it's out. Q has it, but he actually didn't see the ward. Unfortunate. He ran straight down the lane and trotted to the traditional ward spot, which is, of course, that hill. He's not going to find anything.
No? Oh, he's headed into the Radiant jungle.
All he's going to find are sentries. That's really not what he's looking for. And while he's busy trying to hunt those wards out, MP takes the tower top. We're down to 1 tier 2 at this point, but still no racks have been threatened. Both teams with full HP, or nearly that, on all their tier 3 towers. And Glyphs at the ready. Buybacks only on Gyrocopter and Bloodseeker. MVP, maybe they look to make a move with this Aegis.
Yeah, maybe look to swing mid. I don't feel like they can go for a high ground push too easily. It's definitely good timing for them because Gyrocopter doesn't have MKB, and both Bloodseeker and Shadowfiend both have evasion now. Shadowfiend just with the talisman, but this is going to make Gyro's life a lot harder in these team fights to kill core heroes without the MKB.
He is very close though, but if he buys it, he won't have the buyback. I think you go for it, especially seeing the completed butterfly, the other talisman. It's risky, but how much are you really going to do without the MKB?
Yeah, it's a really hard call to make because he's still going to have vivid in his memory getting blown up in the mid lane by that Blink Echo Slam initiation followed by a hook shot. And that's always going to be the plan. Initiating on Gyrocopter with a Blink Echo Slam and trying to burst him down before he can BKB, before he can Satanic, because you don't want to take a long sustained fight against this guy. If he gets off his BKB, you have to run. And that's still a way. I mean, we saw Hot6 take a fight in the top lane when they were really far behind where they couldn't burst down the Gyrocopter, but now they're at a point where they can burst him down. It's much easier and safer for them to take that approach, so.
He is going to go for it. I was thinking maybe he waits to see if they push and then he buys it for the base defense where he's less likely to get ambushed, but aggressive, it's in the name. He's just going to go for it. No holds barred here. It's all out. Firepower for him, and now CDEC, doubt they defend this tier 2. It seemed like they were even thinking about it, but wisely backing off. They want to hold the high ground.
Yeah, and they'll be able to just regroup and set. They're not long left on the Aegis, but it seems
smoke.
Hot6 is still going to go for this.
Pete does get revealed. I'm not sure if CDEC realized he was smoked though, and it's Sunby looking for the hookshot angle here for him. I don't think the smoke actually caught him, so only 3 heroes with it, and now the rocket coming out. CDEC just very far back. The Disruptor in position for a glimpse away. This is not looking like the right angle. They got to get someone from CDEC to come out of the base.
Yeah,
currently no vision within.
Not really a smoke that's going to be achieved too
much. They're going. They hook right onto Aggressive. He's got BKB, MKB, as well as Satanic, and it looks like they just want to force out his BKB off the bat, but they're healing him up with the Phoenix. XZ able to keep him alive. It's an Axe hook, though, so they can just back off and do it again, but if the Pugna gets caught, this may turn into a 5v4. He retreats after the glimpse, and they will reset. Hot6, they got to be out of smoke soon, and in fact, no smokes for 7.5 minutes. So they may have to play this one a little more carefully, gods.
Yeah, good composure from Gyro there. Didn't just rush into a BKB. He's probably like, well, like, who's following this up? SF doesn't have a blink. It's not like he can blink on me and Requiem. I mean, if you see him blink on you, then you pop your BKB. But
oh, they've got eyes on 2. MP, one of the crucial heroes to find, and they're smoking. There are 2 more in the neighborhood, Forev as well as Sunby.
No one's pushing out bottom, though.
Down mid.
It's really suspicious that no one's pushing out bottom lane. At that point, this is a smoke gank which should be obvious to Hot6.
And it seems it is. They stop to farm just 1 or 2 camps, but then they book it out of there. And they all retreat to the safe confines of their base before anyone falls.
Yeah, no one's defending at the tier 3 tower creepway. That's a dead giveaway, and Cheeky force back.
CDEC just anxious to fight. You look at the way they itemized, the way the game started. They just wanted to choke out Hot6 in 25, 30 minutes, but now they've got to play the long con, slow it down, and wait for the right fight. So patience will be of the utmost importance. As for Forev, oh boy, I feel like every time this has happened, gods, there's been 3-4 heroes waiting with detection, and they find him. And guess what they've got? They've got the gem for Q.
They haven't got the Hex with them, though, so it's not easy to prevent him BKBing.
That's true. They have the Walrus Punch, a little bit of control, but not a whole lot.
Yeah. And they take out a ward, so they kind of reveal where they are, and Forever will know they see him, so.
Hot6 moving in. Jarex blinks up to the high ground. Let's see if they rumble here. It seems like they want to. Coming from the river is Heen, following up is Sunby. But then Hot6 think better of it and back off.
It's hard for really either team to take a fight. I think Hot6 just don't have the initiation. Not to, I mean, Clockwork is that initiating hero, but there's no follow-up. Like, unless Shadow Fiend is already on top of heroes right-clicking them, he hooks in. There's no blink follow-up from a secondary hero who can dish out a lot of damage. Earthshaker's really waiting for the middle to the end of the fight before he goes in for an Echo Slam. He's just trying to... his job at the start of a team fight is always to split enemy heroes up like he did in that top tier 2 tower with Fissure, so you can try and isolate one with the Clockwork hookshot and the Shadow Fiend right-click damage. But initiating is not easy. Like, the hookshot doesn't have much follow-up. The Clockwork can't easily start up a fight. So Hot6 really need to pick off. On the CDEC side, kind of similar story. You can't really just have Tusko snowballing in. Otherwise, things are going to end badly. SF will just BKB Requiem, he'll force you back, and they really need that maybe Hex initiation from a Queen of Pain. But it's still risky without
Ian waiting on the high ground. The call down's there, tries to glimmer himself away. The BKB comes out nice and early, and 4-up charges into it. He's got his own BKB, trying to heal him up as the Phoenix Sunman. Now the Clawbow comes through. They've got 4M, and now the egg as well. MVP, it's their turn to get surrounded and pounded. They've lost 4 to the massive AoE combo. CDEC crushing right back through. The pendulum swings the other way. A 6,500 gold swing. Bloodseeker instantly bought back, got absolutely zilch out of it. And now Hot6, despite the buyback, they want to force more, are barreling down the middle lane.
Yeah, so much hard work. 15 to 20 minutes of clawing back from a 10k gold deficit, and
it wasn't even a smoke yet. They just ran across the middle lane.
Good execution coming out, and having the MKB just allowing Aggressive to actually fight the Bloodseeker, fight the Shadow Fiend. It feels like Gyrocopter's finally reached that critical mass where he can't be dealt with unless they get that good initiation on him with that. Well, I mean, in the past, the Blink Echo Slam, whatever it may be, they need to deal with the Gyrocopter. Either run the hell away from him during his BKB or get the jump and prevent him from using BKB.
And now they forced up both key cores buybacks here for Hot6. Shadow Fiend and the Bloodseeker, if they die in the next 6 minutes, they're down for probably 2 minutes plus. And at that point, CDEC may just take 3 lanes of Rex. Hot6 got to play defensively, and Roche is up, gods. I wonder if do they make a play for it? Do they risk trying to sneak the Roche? Do they contest it, or do they just forfeit it if CDEC want to take it?
If they go for it and lose a fight, it's over for Hot6. They lose Roshan. I mean, at that point, it's not about Roshan. It's about CDEC taking multiple lanes of Rax because Shadow Fiend and Bloodseeker don't have buyback, and it's something at the same time, if they give up an Aegis and there's a push coming from a Gyrocopter with Aegis as well as these other items, he can almost pick up a new item too. He's got 5k gold on top of all this, so I think Hot6 would go for a Roche contest if they're in the position to do so, just because they're going to feel like the game may be lost against an Aegis without buybacks. And a big problem also is that MP is going for the butterfly. He's committed to this. The MKB is already there, but with the Talisman and Quarterstaff already bought, you can't... I mean, you could switch out of this. You could look to sell the items, go for a Daedalus instead.
It's a lot of ways to go.
Yeah, I think completing the butterfly is the right move. It's just not going to give you quite what you'd want from the item, and it's already going to be dealt with fine by the Gyrocopter. It's not going to be a game-changing item whatsoever.
Hot6 are congregating near the Roshan pit. They group up. They're in a rather offensive posture, all things considered, as the courier sprints to deliver the butterfly. So it will be available for this team fight. But gods, it's been the gem. The warding from CDEC, it's just given them so much control over the game. And frankly, I feel like almost every single one of their kills the past 25 minutes or so have been given by offensive wards. Still yet to see Hot6. Actually, they just got one on the Clockwork, so they may try to deward these soon, but they're so afraid to get out on the map, given the lack of buybacks on the key carries. As CDEC make their move, they're the ones smoked. They're swinging around the bottom side of the map, and get the hell out of here, Hot6 says. Head for the hills, run north, gentlemen. We're pushing top.
They circle like exactly where they were. 2 players at the same time circled their jungle and like the exact area they were smoked at, so Hot6 are clued in. Without vision anyways, I mean, just some great map awareness and game sense, kind of knowing where they are and what's up, and positioning themselves on the high ground. This is something they used to their advantage before. As great as CDEC's warding has been, they've still lost fights off of their vision advantage. Like, they knew exactly where Hot6 were earlier when they had that high ground mid, but they still ran into a bad fight. So Hot6 are really good about taking fights and just knowing where to position themselves, even with CDEC's vision advantage.
It can almost give you a false sense of security. You've got the great ward, so you see a lot of the key parts of the map, but you don't see 100%. And we'll see CDEC march into the pit, but guess who's coming? It's the whole MVP squad. They're going to fight this without buyback. Sumbi, he's in position for the hook. And then they think twice, but Cheeky's the one who goes in first. Gets out the ult. It's a complete airball to start it from the quap. Gets absolutely nothing. And now he's ruptured. He can blink back without taking damage, but it wasn't a full blink. I believe he took some as Aggressive marches in from the rear. He's focusing down MP, trying to drive him back, and now the egg deployed. Pretty good position here for Ev. Little hesitant on who to focus. Aggressive, he can't do it alone. They're slowly bringing him down. A follow-up hook. He's isolated. He will drop here. It's Cheeky who has to run. The Queen of Pain initiation, just not what CDEC needed. And for Ev, another silence. He pushes down mid. There's no buyback here on the Disruptor, and they found yet another hook. It's Zombie again, as up to the high ground jaunts the Phoenix. Courtesy of the Icarus dive. Did they even go into the Roshan pit? No, they're not done yet. Garter comes in from the rear on his retreat out, and Cheeky has another ult, but he gets hooked. He can't get it off. He had a great angle for 3-4 heroes. He doesn't find anyone just yet. Blinking forward, maybe gets somebody. He catches himself in the trees. Really not what the doctor ordered, as the gyrocopter of Aggressive had to fight back just to hold the line, and then he hooks his way out. He's gonna survive. Sunby, what a player. He finds the initiations. He finds the one way out. And when the dust settles, it's a 4,700 gold swing. They force out the gyrocopter buyback, and they looks like they may forfeit the Roche, but gods, what a costly Roche even if they get it.
Yeah, this is Hot6 will be so happy with this. They're split pushing top lane, so they're going to lose some T3 tower potentially.
Zombies in position. He's going for it again. Will this time be the charm? They've ruptured Cheeky. Look for the hook. Look for it. He's in the pit. Who's going to get the Aegis? No, it's the Gyro who does again. Again, the hook steal is a complete flop.
SF
but in the Radiant base, diving his MP. He'll bring down the Disruptor, rotating in his XC. He can't do this alone. He needs some help from the team. The Razes come out. One more. No, there's the Yules holding him in position a bit longer. Does have the TP. Using it, and Blink Hex on cooldown. He'll make it out. CDEC ultimately coming out on top there, getting a hold of that Aegis, but they did have to use a key buyback, so could end up hurting them in the upcoming
got the cheese,
fight.
actually. Okay, that's something.
All right.
I think very kind of neutral exchange there. The gyrocopter buyback being on cooldown, they can go for a push, but it's 5 minutes without that buyback, and yeah, Gyro's got an Aegis, but just doesn't feel like CDEC is... Okay, they've got the refresher on Quap. This is a big item pickup. If Quap can farm buyback and they still have Aegis, that's where CDEC can look to make a play. Having double Hex, double Sonic Wave, and double BKB is just going to be brutal for some of these Hot6 heroes. That's where the BKBs will not protect the Bloodseeker, will not protect the Shadow Fiend.
Oh, now time for the butterfly for your gyrocopter. Aggressive, I imagine, has the talisman on the courier, picks up the quarterstaff, and he doesn't have buyback, so...
A bit slot limited. It sells his SMY maybe to complete it.
I guess so. It looks like that's what he's headed to do. No, okay. He might just wait until the Aegis expires and then actually deliver it, but for now, buyback is really of no value to Aggressive.
The Pugner, by the way, has been surprisingly effective in some of these fights. The decrep has caused Gyrocopter a lot of problems with a 5-second BKB. Decrep on the Gyrocopter not only prevents him from attacking, but slows him down a ton. He's not even getting like rocket barrage damage off during it, so it just allowed them to kite the Gyro a lot better than the Glimmer Cape and the Falstaff as well, being items that CDEC didn't really deal with well in that last fight. Pugner survived on like 100 HP because of some Glimmer Cape usage, and the Decrep as well, yeah, just actually being quite influential.
Now the Assault Cuirass for 4Ev. He's getting tankier and tankier. Wants to just run in and focus down the gyrocopter of Aggressive, or with the Aegis maybe somebody else, but here comes the hook. Thumby, no, he second guesses it, and Jerax is the one to go, but he tries to get off his combo, but he can't quite. Ends up falling rather early in the fight, and the Phoenix doing work from the high ground. There's basically a defensive Requiem as MP tries to make his way out of here, but the chase is on, and the egg is coming forward. MP burning, immolating, gets away with 100 HP, but the rest of the team not going to be so lucky. 4Ev eats the cheese, tries to run. The snowball won't hit him, but the Yules for now will save the Disruptor until Sunpea again strikes a dagger into the heart of CDEC with yet another sensational hook. And it seems like he wants even another.
He forced out 4Ev out as well. Like 4Ev was in a lot of trouble there after being thrown up, and the Falstaff from the high ground, from Clockwork, just pushes him out of danger. The Glimmer Cape saving the Shadow Fiend as well. These support plays from Hot6 have been crucial in every single fight to save their core heroes. Bloodseeker and Shadow Fiend still alive because of it.
Now, they did have to use another buyback there on the Clockwork of all heroes, who's been so essential, but they're stalling while the Aegis is getting closer to expiring, guys. Only 2 minutes left. CDEC really not showing any sign of getting out on the map and actually mounting an assault towards the Hot6 base. We're now 54 minutes in, and I'm checking towers here. The mid tower, fairly low, 400 HP for the Radiant. The rest very healthy. Your Dire towers, all above half HP, except for the one top that has fallen. But nobody has claimed a Rex just yet. This game is really getting tense.
Yeah, and Bloodseeker now working on that final piece of the puzzle. The Abyssal Blade has the Basher back at base on Courier. Or just bought. Actually, I think he sold it afterwards. Wants to make sure he has buyback, maybe. Just doing the. Yeah, he's probably did the math and was like, actually, I can't actually buy a Basher and still buyback, so.
He too is a wee bit slot limited. You need that TP scroll. You really want the treads, or at least some kind of boots to synergize with your thirst move speed. So,
yeah.
For now, it seems he will hold off on it.
Yeah. So, Hot6, yeah, they're still holding on here. Shiki in that last fight got the refresher ulti off and BKB, but he was just in the middle of too many heroes with a lot of physical damage. Like, he even refreshed, so he had a secondary blink to get out of there, but the SF, I think, just surprised him with how much right-click damage he dished out, and Queen of Pain went down to just right-clicks during a BKB.
Do you see a way to deal with this for CDEC? What, maybe a Shiva's guard for Shiki is the item here?
Shiva's, I feel like, needs to be his next item, unless it's an Assault Cuirass, which is also decent. They kind of fill a similar purpose, but Shiva's, you get the attack speed slow, so that'll help deal with it quite a lot. Outside of that, maybe... Yeah, it really feels like there's limited options here as far as improving what the Queen of Pain can do outside of a Shiva's or an AC.
And she is pretty much done farming at this point. Has the one big item and then maybe Boots of Travel, but pretty much 6-slot at this point. And MVP, they're going to make their move. There's no buyback on Gyro either for 50 seconds. What a difficult window here for CDEC to hold. They have a glyph, and they use it nice and early, but the ward's down on the low ground.
This up, if anything.
CDEC are thinking of fighting it. They drop one quad bolt, and now he desperately trying to heal up MP, but he also brings himself into the danger zone, and they finally look to focus the ward. There's your snowball, but Jarex drags it back again with the quick blink out. They might turn on Garner here. No one chases it with the shards. Still engaging, and they do manage to bring down that pesky Pugna as 4M. He's fast. 584, and looking for Shiki once again, who breaks forward past the Bloodseeker, brings down the Shadow, being dead for 110. Remember, he fought back a whole lot earlier. They hex 4M. The BKBs. He heads for the hills. He will continue his retreat. The Ice Shards can't quite clip him, but the Glimpse sure as hell can catch him. And the Static Field. Kinetic is waiting. He will manage to bring him down. What a play. And in the end, Hot6, they're completely thwarted. They actually did get the melee Rex. So not completely, but it was a pretty expensive melee Rex for 57 minutes. They may have to blow 2 buybacks now to hold this.
And very much the point where a lane of Rex, or especially just the one melee Rex, isn't really that big of a problem for CDEC. Gyrocopter, Queen of Pain, heroes that can deal with having to push things out just fine. So very big win for CDEC there, and everything just came up at the right time. The Gyrocopter was about 30 seconds off his buyback timer, and he was perfectly happy to commit to an aggressive fight. Garda actually lit the way hyper-aggressively, and most importantly, the refresher just come back up on Shiki. So he got that second hex off in the Bloodseeker, had the 2 ultis, and dished out a ton of damage there. And unlike the last fight where he was surrounded by physical damage, this time around he was just couldn't be dealt with.
And at this point, the BKBs are all getting down to 5 seconds. Your Shadow Fiend and Bloodseekers both at 5, and for the Dire squad, the Gyrocopter, I believe, has long been a 5-second BKB. Indeed, it has. So this is where, especially for the Queen of Pain, the Hex really comes into play. It's almost always going to be a way to counter the Bloodseeker. There's a very short window to make plays with your BKB active, and as a result, CDEC starting to find more openings, but look who it is. It's the Earthshaker. Does he want a solo kill, Jack? No, he gets glimpsed back. Not the hook. Not done yet. Somebody comes in. It's my turn to find a kill. Even dropping the Static Storm kinetic field for this, but it won't amount to much as he just casually 4 steps away. That was a nice game of tag there as they just take turns walloping this poor Disruptor.
And Hot6 are kind of grouped up here. This is like the, let's just settle things down, regroup, reset where we are, and stall the game. They haven't got buyback on either of their 2 carries. They also want to just work on some of their item progressions. SF hasn't finished his Satanic. You want to complete the Abyssal Blade, or at least the Basher, I want to say, on 4F's Bloodseeker. So I feel like Hot6 are not going to be looking to make any big plays. They may go for a smoke and try to find a key pick off on one of the cores if they feel CDEC is split up. But this is just not a time where Hot6 can achieve any big objectives.
Gods, they have dodged a bullet here. It's a full 11-minute Roshan, and guess how long they've got? 5 minutes on the buyback still. Nice. So they're only going to have a 2-minute window for CDEC, assuming they get the Rosh where there's no buybacks. And it's not a whole lot.
If they give them Roshan, by the time the push comes, their buybacks are even closer. So
it's maybe 1 minute at that point.
Yeah, depending how much CDEC really rush things, a lot of times teams will get an Aegis and then they won't even go for the push immediately. They'll let a couple of minutes of the Aegis timer just be burnt, but CDEC will be well wary of those buyback respawn timers, so we'll see.
Talking a lot about buybacks here, but MVP have just spent all their gold on both of their cores, so may not even have the gold for it by the time the Aegis is picked up.
Yeah, 4 minutes away, I guess. SF... I guess both heroes should, but you never really know what's going to happen during that time span. And SF is thinking, like, I want to replace this SMY with a Daedalus at this point. He needs some real DPS, or even the TP scroll probably. But he's going to need some late game DPS for Hot6 to be able to take this one, it feels like.
Maybe some Sunby heroics are in the making here for Hot6, who's just been so impressive with relatively little farm on the clock. We're showing just how much the hero can do with only a few key items. CDEC now will smoke. They know the buybacks are on cooldown. Roshan has been scouted as not having respawned by the Radiant. Wonder if CDEC even care to go that direction. I think they're looking for hero kills here. They don't have any vision. The ping's coming out wildly. They see the illusions, I believe. And they did hex one. Shiki using his hex there. Not sure if Hot6 caught it right away.
There were some pings coming out, so it looks like they seem aware. I mean, an illusion disappears like that without anyone showing on the map attacking it.
You
asked some questions, yeah.
Probably a hero was involved, even if you don't see him.
Yeah.
Time to check smokes, I think. In terms of who's going to have the next ones, there's already one on Jerax. Got another one in a minute. Whereas for CDEC, it seems no smokes for 10 minutes nearly.
How do you think they want to use the smoke? Do they contest Roshan, go for a pick-off, wait till they have buybacks to use it? What?
Huh. I'm not really sure. It's also tough because all the tier 2s are down for both teams, and you don't have any real mobility on either side, aside from this single boots of travel on the gyro. So if you smoke, it's going to be a deep smoke most likely, and it's tough to really get the jump on anyone.
Yeah. They definitely don't want to be like pushing lanes or like trying to have a hero push a lane and smoke behind or something, because they'll be fighting into buybacks as well as, I mean, CDEC have everything up. The refresh is back for the Queen of Pain. That's probably like one of the big things to look out for as far as when CDEC ready to fight. Maybe just to plant wards. That's how MVP want to use theirs. They smoke, they get 2 wards down in the Dire jungle, 1 in the base. Oh, that's a big one if it's not dewarded. There is a gem on Garter, and Garter is not quite there, but it looks like he's walking back towards mid. This one may be quickly removed from the map. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but yeah, it'll get taken out now.
Hello. Thank you very much, says Q.
Not a bad. I mean, the idea, I think, was to try and find like a pick-off, because this top lane with the melee Rex down is going to have to be pushed out and defended a bit, and you don't really want to commit 5 heroes to pushing out a lane far away from Roshan, far away from taking objectives on the map.
Clockwork hooking just to try and get closer to his team. It puts it on cooldown for 7. Right around the time when the Roshan would have had to respawn. It's been a full 11 minutes since our last Rosh, which puts the buybacks soon to come. Shadow Fiend, 1,100 gold short of his own. Bloodseeker, only 150. But it means he won't have the Basher, I believe, if he wants to save for buyback. So he's going to have to make a choice here.
Yeah, he probably just says, I'll take the buyback for now. And looks like CDEC aren't even going to go for the Roshan. These buybacks will be coming up, and Roshan, a bit of a... As far as control on the Rosh pick, Clockwork can be such a problem, and I think that's something CDEC are really respecting here. They've got 2 wards to try and deal with this Roshan area, and that's where Hot6 don't have any vision whatsoever, but CDEC maybe not aware of that.
Oh, they're primed to pounce here on MP. Shiki's got the vision. No, not going to go. He was thinking about it, and they're going to initiate with Zombie in the end. The hook's there, pushes him back with the cogs. Where's the follow back? Oh, it looks like his blink got disabled. Jinx can't get it up, and now the first going to pin on a complete airball. Look for the second one. Let's see if it's any better. They snowball forward. Shiki held in position by the Rupture, but hexes for him and ignores him, and the real fight breaks out with aggressive going in on Zombie, but MP at full HP. Now the Echo. Jerax doing work, but not enough. He can't finish the job. It's up to MP to do it. Man fighting the gyro and losing that fight badly. He gets pulled back by the glimpse, slapped down, and CDEC, they take down 3 heroes, force out a buyback immediately from the Pugna, and this should be the Roche. Unless Hot6 really want to roll the dice, they're going to have to give this one up.
Yeah, 100 seconds on SF. It kind of comes down to how much do they value that SF buyback. Like, would you rather take the Aegis or force an SF buyback? And look, they're going to take the Aegis and cheese here. It's a pretty big pickup for them, I think, and probably the right decision. No room on the gyrocopter unless he wants to drop something, which every item at this point very crucial for his ability to teamfight. So I think it's just going to go to the Queen of Pain.
Aegis picked up by the Queen of Pain as you predicted, Gods, and now a cheese going on to Garter, who is now the plate mail bearer for his Queen of Pain. Looks like Shiki will in fact be going towards the Shivas as basically his final item of the game, unless he decides to start putting rapiers in the fountain, which at the rate this game is going might be in the offing soon. Sunby, oh boy. Little bit close to getting caught here. He's up on the high ground though. They'll let him back off. And they're pushing. Oh, CDEC want to move in.
I mean, they get Aegis and Cheese and force the buyback at this rate, so this is...
It seems he's going to have to. 40 seconds until he can even get back in the game. They do have a clip, but they're going to let the tower fall. They're baiting. Hot6, they really want to make CDEC commit to this one before they jump in. Haven't gone just yet. And KB picked up by the Bloodseeker. Maybe has a shot to lock down Aggressive, who is fully stacked and 6-slotted with enough gold for a rapier of his own if he wants in the stash. Certainly has the buyback now. And it comes down to this top tier 2. Can Hot6 really afford to let this fall freely? Still not buying back on the Shadow Fiend, wrapping around his forehead, but he's been scouted by Q. He committed a Rupture just for the Disruptor, keeps him out of the fight as Aggressive gets home. Pushed back by the Cons, almost onto the low ground to stall this push a bit further. Disruptor will end up falling to the Bloodseeker backstab, but they've gotten 2 melee racks, and they can get out cleanly if they'd like now. Aggressive getting to Crep. This could set up for the initiation. Look for the Echo. Jarek still waiting. The hook goes to the backside. It sets up a 2-hero Blood Rage. The Yules to dodge it, and Shiki engaging. Aggressive BKBs, and now leaping forward for him. He's got a lot of move speed, a hell of a lot of damage. 2 hours punch him. The Echo's on 2. They've gotten a lot, and they're looking for more. They focused on the egg next. No explosion, and then a force in for Rev. He's on the hunt now. No Blood Rage for just a little bit longer, a Rupture rather, but it doesn't seem he's gonna need it. With Jarek's there, again the hook from Sungbi. They'll get 3 in the end. They also forced out the Aegis, I do believe, and well, with that, CDEC forced back, but they've gotten 2 melee racks to match the 1 that Hot6 have, and they've got 3 buybacks. Can Hot6 force now?
That was just sweet play from both Jerax as well as 4 if they're catching out the Disruptor on the backlines and killing supports in these late games. Something to not be underestimated. They offer a ton of utility. They can cause all sorts of problems if you get caught in the static storm after your BKB, the kinetic field as well. And this is where everyone has 5-second BKBs, so 4 of getting a lot done to help set up the fight, and then as soon as the SF is back, they pounced in. Well, CDEC may have to start chewing through their buybacks, otherwise they're going to lose multiple lanes of racks themselves. We'll have to see how much they value that. MVP Hot6 didn't seem to mind.
This one only a ranged racks. Not sure you want to commit too many buybacks, but they will use the gyro. That's the big one. And now the Ice Shard's coming out. They got eyes on Sumbi. He tries to retreat, but the Glimpse will pull back in the Pugna. Oh, poor, pitiful Pugna. Down again. But if you're going to lose somebody, this is probably the ideal hero at this point in the game for Hot6.
Yeah. CDEC need to buy a new gem. There's Glimmer Capes all over the place, and not having protection at this stage is just inexcusable. There we go. I was about to say, as that initiation happened at top, I was like, CDEC don't have protection. This could go really badly just through Glimmer Cape usage in the Abyssal, sorry, the Silver Ed on 4F causing problems, but they weren't really geared and ready to fight. But find ourselves back to kind of neutral here. It is a double melee racks advantage going the way of CDEC. Well, sorry, well, the two melee racks to 1 here, but
it's an advantage that can be surmounted. Hot6, yeah, definitely not out of it. Also, if it comes to just focusing buildings down, they may have the edge with the Bloodseeker and the Shadow Fiend as 2 very heavy single target heroes, and only the Gyrocopter and CDEC who can do it much to buildings. But with that said, Aggressive, even with the buyback, has 5,700 gold. He's nearly got the stash rapier, Gods, and boy, we've seen a lot of these today. IG Fnatic certainly one for the history books of International Dota. We may see more at the rate we're headed. I think this is going to be a record for day one as far as the number of rapier pickups and the average game time. At least in the games I've seen, they've all been going the distance.
It's been all sorts of crazy Dota today. Completely unpredictable has been the biggest way to describe day one here of the group stage.
So does that mean that we're headed for a 30-minute stomp in the grand finals? BO5 3-0.
Hey man, Newbie were beating EG. Like we were like watching the game one against Newbie EG while we're waiting for this game to start. So who knows? Newbie are back apparently.
I was telling Toby, all you need is a single techies pick in the grand finals and you're safe. You'll get a long finals. But we'll just have to wait and see. For now, CDEC wrapping around through the Radiant jungle. They're getting prepped for a clash here. Vision, they don't have any. Radiant also lacking. Both teams just out of range of those wards.
If Gyro dies, CDEC, it's pretty much game over unless they like take carries with them. Like if she can get like a few kills like on SF and Bloodseeker, maybe it's not game over. But SF, Bloodseeker both have buyback. So if you kill Gyrocopter, you just commit those SF and Bloodseeker buybacks to go for maybe a game-ending push. And this is where CDEC are going to have to play very cautiously. Aggressive, man. I know you like to be aggressive, but this is not the time to sit back.
Not the time. Definitely not. At the same time, he is not easy to bring down. He's got 34 armor, a satanic, gigantic damage output, has evasion, which is going to help him against the Shadow Fiend, though not against the Bloodseeker. And Hot6 are a bit weak against the BKB, to be honest. Sure, they've got Rupture, but the Gyrocopter doesn't want to run. He wants to stand and deliver. You're right that they lose the game most likely if he's caught, but taking him down is going to be David fighting Goliath.
Yeah. The Ruptures, for the most part, have also been going on the Queen in some of these sides, so...
It feels like it's fallen off a bit in its utility as the game progresses. Heroes just getting tankier and able to get off their spells. You've got Yule Scepter on the Phoenix to kite. You can always glimpse the Bloodseeker back or force out his BKB. Just a lot of ways to kind of wait out that time.
Yeah, it hasn't been like a dominant spell in team fights. It's kind of, I've seen it like the last few fights on Queen of Pain where Queen of Pain got all her spells off, then gets ruptured, so she had to stay still. She can't chase and use Shadow Strikes and just right-click, and Queen of Pain right-click damage at this stage is pretty impressive, so it helped a little bit negate Queen of Pain's impact after the double Sonic Wave, double Hex, etc., but it's by no means like a game-changing spell.
Oh god, so they're not going to force it, at least not yet. Hot6, very slow and steady. Jarek's lumbering up to do a bit of split pushing, but they're not really angling for that big climactic fight while Aggressive's buyback is on cooldown, and he's taking this time to just farm up a bit, and I think he'll have gold for the buyback by the time it cools down.
I really like the move from Jarex. He's got buyback, so if they really commit gank, he's also got a ward protecting him, so he dies if they smoke gank him. At that point, it's a smoke gank for an Earthshaker as buyback. He's applying pressure, and
at this stage of the game, the smokes are really crucial.
So at some point, someone has to defend this top lane unless they want to give up the range rack. So it gives you great scouting information at this point. Vision is one of the most important resources for both teams. So by split pushing this lane, he forces heroes to rotate. He gets Hot6 that kind of information that they need to figure out what CDEC are up to.
72 minutes nearly, gods, and it's feeling rather routine at this point after some of the games today. Cloud9 on 2 of them, not quite 70 I think on both, but going rather long to start the day. We saw the IG Fnatic match, and you know, I could get used to this, man. If every game's back and forth tug of war this long, I'm going to be one happy caster. And
this is where all the kind of crazy shenanigans comes out. We've got Lotus Orbs on both sides, especially useful against the Queen of Pain Hex. These utility items have been the name of the game for Hot6 especially. There's been multiple fights where 4-star and Glimmercape usage has saved carry heroes, and now we're going to have Lotus Orbs to deal with the Queen of Pain Hexes. And very high skill cap items to execute perfectly in a team fight, but we've seen Hot6 do just that, so I don't doubt that they'll continue to do so.
This is one of those gigantic late game playmaking items. Imagine you get a Rupture on the Bloodseeker and all of a sudden he's just, he's the one who can't run. Great, you have 800 move speed and you're dying if you dare to take a foot outside of the range of where that Rupture caught you initially. So it could be really big. The hexes you mentioned coming into play potentially for the Queen of Pain against her. This is one of, I think it might be one of the highest skill cap and playmaking items when it comes to the late game.
Yeah, the best thing about it is just it's a repel. So if someone gets hexed, you can just dispel it. So that's always
like the safe way to use it.
Yeah, a very safe way, and the item pays for itself in that nature. But if you can counter hex the Queen of Pain. Oh boy, you're looking fantastic in a fight.
That's just icing on the cake, I suppose. But
at that point, you don't get rid of the hex though, because you've already put it on cooldown, which is where it's probably safer just to hold on to it. But you never know.
It's kind of like the superior diffusal blade. We saw Puppey. I think there was the Chen game, maybe it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, where he kind of pioneered the counter to hex being a diffusal blade, but this is just the new and improved version.
Yeah.
They're going for it. The Roche is dropping, and it's rather quickly. If Hot6 want to engage, they need to charge directly in the pit.
It's not a must contest, but they may feel like they're strong enough that they can. They've got buybacks as well.
Make way for Sunby, and then he goes. There's the home shot, following up with the silence. They try to make the move. The Queen of Pain ult's there to turn this one around, and on high ground goes Sunby. Nobody finishing the Roshan for him, though. Hexed once. He's in danger. Down he falls. He buys back instantly, but in onto MP. CDEC crushing through. They brought the 3, make it 4 through the buyback. And it really feels like they just have too much damage.
Yeah.
Hot6 just can't stand against them. They lose 6,000 gold. They've got no buyback on the Clockwork or the Pugna, and now they're up against it as CDEC rotate towards bottom, and they will be looking for the 75-minute death push straight down the bottom lane.
It was one of those things I saw them running towards. I was like, okay, maybe they're strong enough to contest it, but by no means did they need to. Where at this stage, Gyrocopter and Queen of Pain, both 6-slotted, don't have room for an Aegis. It's not like, I mean, they can drop an item, but at that point, they're dropping a core essential item, so it just didn't feel like it was a Roshan they had to contest, and Clockwork initiating in kind of spelled his demise. He wasn't available to use Full Staff and Lotus Orb to protect the carry, so Bloodseeker and Shadow Fiend had a much tougher job teamfighting without the protection from some of these utility items.
To JerAx now. There's the smoke, and then he moves. Can he find the 5-hero echo? It's gonna take a miracle.
It's Mega Creep.
And then some.
I mean, this is just a range track. They can suicide for it if they want.
This is where he wants to make his solid, but he's got to get more heroes in position. They're all sitting back pretty much. Aggressive dealing with the creep. Shiki does BKB. He backs off, but he baits out the glyph, and that opens the throne right up with no Clockwork for 30 seconds. Let's see, blink forward, and he hexes JerAx. He gets the jump on the Earthshaker, who smoked to avoid this exact scenario. He gets up the Echo. That's a what avail as Aggressive races in from the east, going to work. He's been decrepitated though, and he's unable to auto-attack for quite some time. Drops quickly, will fall. 700 gold going the way of your Bloodseeker, and Hot6, they hold gods barely, but they buy back, and they're right back into the fray.
Here's Clockwork, he's respawning. Gotta be careful now.
Blink forward, JerAx, no echo, but has the fissure, gets XC, they make short work of him, and the chase, he's gonna have a hook in about 8 seconds. Shiki can blink, but Aggressive may not be so lucky. There's the hex, and then the blink back by Shiki, looks to retreat.
3 seconds.
They have a glimpse. Forward does have no BKB, so they can just glimpse him out, but the hook comes through.
He's got no buyback.
Aggressive, this could be trouble if he is going down, but they can't get to him. The cogs keep him safe, and he deals all the damage in the world from within. Clockwork's cogs turned against him as CDEC make their stand. It's all up to MP now. He tries to hold, but he just can't do it. Aggressive racing forward. There's the triple kill. 4 dead. No buybacks in sight, and CDEC emerge victors in a thriller. They'll take the 1-0 advantage to get this BO2 kicked off.
Oh, such a insane game. And even that finish there, that was such a 50-50 moment where that Clockwork hooks the Gyrocopter. If he like pushes the Gyrocopter with the cogs towards the Bloodseeker, Gyrocopter dies. I don't know if the game ends off that because there's still Queen of Pain alive, but even that last team fight to the very end was just could have gone either way. And Hot6 really impressing with their first showing here, but it's CDEC who get the win.